The greatest power you possess is your ability to choose. Join Lowe's Moore as he reveals how you can begin to maximize that power by exploring yourself on the deepest levels and committing to making lasting and positive changes. Get ready to achieve breakthroughs that will lead to accelerated growth and transformation, because you are now tuned in to the The greatest power you possess is your ability to choose. Join Lowe's Moore as he reveals how you can begin to maximize that power by exploring yourself on the deepest levels and committing to making lasting and positive changes. Get ready to achieve breakthroughs that will lead to accelerated growth and transformation, because you are now tuned in to the Blueprint.
Why the actions contradict the lamb. I'm fellowshipping when I'm with the fam. That's more relations, that's forming a phonic.
Good morning, and welcome to the Blueprint podcast. Let's see here. I may jump out for a second. I think I got some little noise here. Give me 1 second. That was a disappearing act, right? But welcome to back to the Blueprint podcast. And as you can see, the Blueprint is on the move. We're in what my good friend Stanley Wise says. We in B-more, which is Baltimore. We're in Baltimore, Maryland, and man, it's been a long week. I mean, between the weather and then, unfortunately, one of my first cousins passed away, and we attended the funeral. And man, I was saying to them, just as we were, about to leave the repast, and I was like, wow, man. Most of the time, this particularly on my father's side, most of the time, we meet when family passes away. So, but I was telling them that, like, hey, maybe each year we need to kind of get together, do a mini reunion, just take a weekend, and just, whether it's a cookout or get to a park, and we'll run over to, I have no problem running over to, because a lot of my family, they live in Pennsylvania, Allentown area. And I don't have no problem running over there. Just like we did for my Aunt Penny, 80th birthday during the summertime. And we were able to come from North Carolina and go straight to, after our anniversary, come straight to land, get in the car, go to Allentown, Pennsylvania, to make sure we were there for my aunt's 80th birthday. And I got so many first cousins, and it's, just seeing them every single time has just been a blessing. And we were just talking about something that we could do once a year, right, where we can get together, because most of the time we're meeting someone has passed. And so, yeah, but it was great. It was a great experience. And then from Pennsylvania to B-more, and tomorrow in Delaware. It's been a long journey. And we also have our youngest with us, our youngest granddaughter, traveling with us, and she's exploring. I mean, when I say she's exploring, right, it used to be the thing is hold me. Now the thing is I got to crawl, I got to stand, and I'm trying to walk. So she's exploring. She's on her own journey, right? And we're trying to get her to just chill out for a moment. Ain't no chilling out for a moment. We were up late last night. She had to just fall out, not go to sleep. She just fell out. So, but again, welcoming you to the Blueprint Podcast this morning. This is a special podcast, Saturday podcast. I do them on the weekends where we have the extra day, and this is a very special weekend. This is the weekend where we celebrate, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And if you're old enough, maybe you put in the chat. Maybe you put in the chat if you're old enough. You would put in the chat. Where were you when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Was assassinated? His passing. Where were you when Dr. Martin Luther King, passed away? And I remember it vividly. It was just such a powerful, even though I didn't really know exactly what was happening because I was actually in the 6th grade. I was in the 6th grade, and it ended up that we found out standing outside the school, right? We found out standing outside the school that Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated, and we didn't really know what that meant, but we could see the impact by looking at our teachers. My teachers seemed to be, my teacher, homeroom teacher, was crying. They was trying to say what was happening to get us into school. It was just such a real crazy day. We knew that something important and something powerful was happening, right? And then when I got a chance to get home, my parents was like, yeah, here, this is who Dr. Martin Luther King is, and this is what happened. Of course, I was probably too young. We didn't study current history in our history studies, in elementary school. So, I didn't really know what was going on at the time. So, but we now have a national holiday for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I like to say we have an entire weekend. I like to think we have an entire week, right? I think we should never forget. I think this is 365 days out of the year, right, in which we remember history, right? We remember those who paved the way for us, and so yeah, just a crazy time, around Dr. Martin Luther King. Is crazy too. Let me say this, that if Dr. King, he would, I can't really know what the age is, right, of Dr. King at this particular time if he was alive, right? I like to think that we would be far in terms of, he left a dream, right? And he did some amazing things while he was here, right? But he left a dream. But the thing is, what if he was still here? I think that Dr. King and men like Malcolm X, we would be in a different place because they just would not allow us to drop the ball, right? And we've done some amazing things, but I think we've kind of dropped the ball along the way, because if Dr. King was about love and Dr. King was about nonviolence, right? And if Dr. King was about service, You know, I'm not gonna paint with a broad brush, but I gotta imagine in my mind that they would assume we would be in a better place, because they sowed a seed. They laid a foundation that we should build on, and we are still struggling, right? And let me say this before I move on, right? And I know we want to address violence and gun issues. We want to address them, you know, globally, internationally. We want peace rather than war, right? I know we want to address them, and we want to go to the United States of America, and we want them to give us social justice, right? And we should have, definitely, as African American people, we should have social justice. These issues shouldn't be as prevalent as they are currently today with the seeds that Dr. King has sown, right? And not just Dr. King, but everybody that was in that move, every church, you know, every person that sacrificed, right, that gave of themselves and lives and injuries and different things like that. Yeah, they all should be honored, but we should be in a better place, right? We should definitely be in a better place. And so the thing that we're not, oh man, incredible. But anyway, we honor Dr. Martin Luther King on this weekend. We honor him in terms of his holiday on Monday. Yeah, very powerful. Let me say this. I want to finish the point I wanted to make. As we battle, as we fight for social justice globally, internationally, in the United States of America, locally, let me say this to my culture, right? We need to be better about us personally when it comes to nonviolent situations. When we talk about the things that are impacting our neighborhoods, impacting our communities, right? We could be better, right? And I believe it starts in the home, as Dr. King would talk in regards to family. I believe it starts with family, right? I believe the first place of education is in the home, right? You train a child in the way he or she should go, right? And they will not fall off that path. They may jump off for a moment, but they'll come back to it, right? We have to be better at making sure that our kids get educated, that our kids have character, that our kids have integrity. That's the responsibility of the parents, right? To be able to educate in the home, and then make sure when they go to school, they get educated in the school, follow them, investing them, right? And that we need to make sure that our kids get to school on time, right? Get the education that they need to get, right? And stay out the community where it is negative. That's the responsibility of the parent. That's the responsibility of the community. If we can solve some things internally, right? If we can solve our own problems, our own situations, it starts at home. And when I mean home, it starts in the culture. It starts with us, right? It's just way too much illiteracy. It's way too much violence. It's way too much drugs and guns. And it's just crazy. And self-hatred, right? And, I'm sure Dr. King is flipping over in his grave right now, but we honor him for the foundation that he laid. So on Monday, throughout this whole weekend, Monday, all year round, we honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So enough of my soapbox. Let me get to my word, my book of the week. Let me get to my book of the week here, right? In the times that we, in the times that we're living in, and under the stress that we're living in, here's a good book. I mean, I've listened and read a few chapters of this book. man, Dr. Joseph Dispenza, he's on YouTube. And while we are dealing with the issues of mental health, right, and how to better, um, control how we think and how we get better at not allowing the anxiety and stress that we see in the world today, that's causing us confusion and causing us to be more emotional and causing us to stress out. This is a real good book. Bring that back up there one more time, real quick. Breaking the Habits of Being Yourself. How to lose your mind and create a new one, because there we all are in a paradigm, right? And if you grow up in an environment where it's stressful, like we're growing up right now, where we're unsure, things seem to be unstable, right? If we let that mindset stay with us, right, in this time, yeah, we're going to have mental health issue. But Dr. Spencer, Dispenser is amazing at, like, how do we stabilize our mind? How do we keep our mind? I talk about the broad road in my book. Broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many find it, but narrow is the road. And Dr. Joseph Dispenza keeps us on the narrow road, or teaches us how to stay on that narrow road. And it is a powerful book and a book for the time. Right, a book for the times. Now, if you're a faith person, you're a Christian person, sometimes we don't listen, we don't read, and we don't listen to stuff that's outside our sphere of influence. But there are things outside our sphere of influence that could help us improve our daily walk in life, right? And Dr. Dispenser is a one who helps you develop that mind and find strength, because our minds are so powerful. So get that book, right? Dr. Joseph Dispenza's book. And here's my word of the week. The word of the week. No, the word of the week. That's last week's word. And if it's not there, the word of the week is meditation, right? Is meditation. Now, the word of the week is meditation. And we need to do a lot more of it. We need to pause, right? Mindfulness. We need to pause, right? Whether it's scriptures or something positive, we need to take a moment every day, and we need to sit down and relax and not think about the cares of this world. We need to think about ourselves. In 2024, we need to think about how we personally stabilize ourselves. And so we need to be able to meditate. We need to take time. We need to pause. If you hear me in 2024, we need to learn how to pause. We wake up in the morning running. The kids wake up in the morning running. We run all the way till we just fall asleep, right? We take no time to pause, right? Back in the day, man, when I was a little kid, man, I used to hate naps, right? But that was a pause when you just say, and here's another example. My grandson, Dakota, right? If Dakota does not take a nap, boy, we are in for a whirlwind, because he gets tired, right? And he's fighting tired, right? And then you crazy, you just run around like you just don't know what to do with yourself. Well, that's the same thing that happens to us as well when we do not pause, when we do not sit down, read a book, right? Get a scripture on our mind and meditate on that scripture, man. Just meditate. Just meditate on something. Meditate on being peaceful. Meditate being happy. Meditate being on joy. Think about good times, right? And just settle yourself, right? And regenerate yourself, right? You just cannot keep burning yourself and go to sleep with that stuff on your mind, right? And then sleep with it on through the night and then wake up in the morning doing the same thing. You need to pause. You need to pause in 2024. You need to learn how to pause, right? You need to learn how to relax. I don't know who that's for, but you need to learn how to relax. And here's my Pierce Hopper affirmation moment, right? My affirmation quote moment, right? Which just coincides with what I was just saying. And this is a scripture in Joshua 1:8, right? It says, keep this book of laws always on your lips. Meditate day and night so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will prosper and have success, right? You will prosper. See how important meditation is? And it's what you meditate on. I meditate on scriptures, right? I meditate on things that are positive, right? And then that's causes for me to prosper and have good success. Man, I hope you like that affirmation, man. I mean, that's one you should have every day when you wake up in the morning, right? Read the scripture, read John Wooden, the famous basketball coach, said, read from the good book daily. I said, read from it and meditate on it daily, and you shall prosper and have good success, right? That's my affirmation quote moment for today. And then, here, my guest today, right? This is my guest right there, my man, Gary Mcintosh. He says, which Bible verse did God write for you? It says, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will knock, you will find, knock, and the door will be open unto you. Right? That's what Matthew 7:7. Right? I like that. A few affirmations today. And then here's my music and movie. Right. A unifying sound. Now this is on YouTube, and my man Fern, who's a part of the King movement, has this on there, and it is just playing his saxophone. Remember when I was saying relax, right? These are worship songs, right? Gospel songs, right? He's playing them on the saxophone, right? So if you want to meditate, right? You want to meditate on something, get some nice, soft, soothing music to meditate on, and that is a unifying sound. And then the movie of the week is Selma, right? Dr. Martin Luther King's, when he was dealing with the issues and trying to break down some of the negative things that was going on in Selma and build a march to Washington. And just a powerful movie as we remember Dr. Martin Luther King, right? Meditating and remembering Dr. King. And then, all right, let's get moving. Let's roll on so we can get started here. Person of the week, of course, Dr. Martin Luther King. And let me say this. I think I said it last week. No, I don't know if I said it last week, but my family always laugh at me because I see people, right? I see people in the airport, in a mall, I see them, and they end up, they may be famous, right? And I have no problem. I have absolutely no problem going to them and speaking to them, right? I have no problem going there and speaking to them. I saw Dr. King's wife, Coretta Scott King. She was in a private area in the airport, and I walked in. I was just so excited. I didn't know whether she had bodyguards or anything, but I just wanted to say, I didn't want anything. I didn't want an autograph. I just wanted to say, man, your husband was amazing. You guys are amazing, man. You always in my prayers. I mean, and she spoke to me for, a couple of minutes. And then I met Dr. Martin Luther King's son. And it was just a nice experience, right? So it was an opportunity, right, that turned out well, and I found out that for them to be humble and engaging, you can't trust people today, but they were very engaging, and they were very thankful and grateful. So Dr. Martin Luther King is my person of the week. Now I got some birthdays, right? I got some birthdays coming up. Yeah, we got some birthdays that passed and some that are current. Let's check out those birthdays for this show. So, and while we waiting for those birthdays, there you go. Happy heavenly birthday, Uncle Sonny, January the 10th. Man, we miss Uncle Sonny, man. We were singing them songs a day or two ago. That's the other verse, of one of the Christmas songs that we never knew about, that he had packed away in him. So Uncle Sonny want to say happy birthday to you. And it would have been on January 10th. Right. All right. Who else we got? Oh, how can we forget my mom? January the 11th. I want to say happy birthday to my mother, my beautiful mother. And we're going to celebrate because we were in Pennsylvania, right? We were in Pennsylvania and during her birthday. So we were not in town. So we're going to have to do something when we get back. We don't know what it is yet, but we will take care of my mom. We will definitely take care of my mom. But I want to say happy birthday to her. Yeah, we got some more birthday. Keep them coming. Caden, happy birthday. Caden is coming up, right? I think Caden's going to be like 5, right? And he's going to be like 5. I think he's going to be 5. Yeah, I think he's going to be 5. So happy birthday, Caden. Yeah. All right. Is that it? Let's get rolling. Let's get rolling. Remember, we in Be More today, this morning. In Be More, and we are honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And is there any more birthdays? All right, no more birthdays. Let's show a highlight so we can get to my guest and get this conversation going. Oh, happy birthday to Jolly. Now, Jolly, Jolly is my nephew, and his birthday is the same day on January the 11th. It's the same day as my mother's birthday, so they always partnering up, right? And always having a great time together, man. They like joint together, calling each other for their birthday and stuff like that. That's very, very powerful. You got, just an amazing. But how many are enjoying as they enter 2024? How many of you are enjoying? How many of you guys are on the Daniel fast and you still on it, right? You still on the Daniel fast. Hit me on that if you're on the Daniel fast, man. One of the toughest things about the Daniel fast is, what do you eat, right? What do you eat on the Daniel fast, man? If you got any recipes out there for breakfast, what you eat for breakfast, what you eating for lunch, what you eating for dinner, man, drop them in the drop them in the chat here, right? Let's see here. And let me pause for a moment. I'm trying to, my wife's talking about You always got challenges when you're on the road. So let me run. I'm gonna disappear for like a second, right?
She's gonna pass to herself and she's gonna come to a jump shot. She's gonna take the ball to the basket. Let's go. Come on. Jump stop. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Bring it. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Right. She did well. All right, balance. 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 Way to go, boy. Concentrate. Yeah, right to the half court line. Way to go, boy. Way to go.
Man, Gary Mcintosh, welcome to the Blueprint. Yeah. What's up, Gary?
All is
Now,
good. All
now
is
look,
good.
I'm coming from all is good. Yeah. I'm in Baltimore, right? And my man Gary, he's in the Bahamas, right? We up here. It's freezing. It's raining. Last week it was snowing. Gary, man, how's it out there in the Bahamas, man?
It's beautiful. You have nice weather, nice cold breeze. It's nice out there today. Good day to
You
go
said
fishing.
good day to go fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you do a lot of fishing?
Yeah, man, I love fishing.
Yeah. Hey, now many of you probably wondering how Gary and I connected, right? Back a little while ago, I was at West Virginia University playing basketball, going to school, and Gary came in to West Virginia University. Now, you can look at Gary and you can look at me. You can't tell that maybe I'm 6'1", right? You can't tell that he's like 6'7", 6'8", because he's sitting down right now. But Gary came in, and we always look at recruits when they come in for the first time. You say, "Oh man, that guy, whoa, Gary was like a man child, you know." Um, and I was like, "Wow, we got a man. He could play. Looked like he could play 3. Looked like he could play 4. Looked like he could play 5." I was like, "Oh, we're gonna be good this year, right?" And so we met at West Virginia University. We played a year together, right? It was a year, right? Played a year together, and we had a great time. I mean, Gary, awesome talent, man, and and a good person. I like that because I like to picture myself as not only a person who was talented, but a person who was a good person. So, Gary, welcome to the Blueprint, man. Again, hi, Lowe's and Gary. Nice to see and hear you this morning. Liz Miller, awesome. Yeah. So Gary, talk about what was your first impression before we go to your family and stuff like that. What was your first impression coming to West Virginia University and getting there and being at the university? Talk about that. Now, how did you get there, right? And what was your impressions, of that time you spent that in Morgantown?
Well, when I first got there, I gave you a little story. Playing at home and coming from a small town called Secret and the community of 8 Mile Rock, West Grand Bahama. One of the first in my community to get a Division I scholarship. When I was in high school, my last year in high school, I was laying down in my bed and I was watching Bernard King play in Madison Square Garden.
That's a good person to watch.
Yeah. And I looked at it, because the Lord works in mysterious ways. Believe you me when I tell you this. I'm looking at Bernard King playing in Madison Square Garden. And I love, I got a scholarship to go to a military school in Woodstock, Virginia. And I look after that. I end up at the University of West Virginia, and we made it to the Final Four in NIT, and I'm playing in Madison Square Garden. I'm sitting there on the bench looking at Madison Square Garden, thinking about when I was back in my room laying down. And that was amazing to me. So I say that to say that it showed me that anything is possible, you know, in life, once you have positive people around you. My grandmother was my strength, you know, and she told me, when I told her I'm going to the States, she said, boy, pack your bags and go ahead. And when I entered West Virginia and I entered at Coliseum, it was so big. I couldn't stop looking up at it, you know. Everything for me at the university was like a dream, but it was a beautiful dream. The coaches, the people, everyone was nice, especially you. You made me feel welcome. You made me. After you spoke with me, you really was my mentor because you catch my attention and my mind. And I always remember when you signed this picture. That you signed, you gave me this picture, and I signed it because you were a big star there at the university, and I kept that picture to this day. So I value your friendship, and I value your presence of God, because in my community where I grew up, that the Lord was in everybody's house. You know, so I appreciate you for that, because once I realized that you were a godly like person, my spirit just stayed there, you know, and it made me feel comfortable. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't know that when you get a Division I scholarship, right? You know, you end up like, you know, you, even though you're on the same team, but you competing, you know, and even though we didn't play the same position, we're all competing for time, right? But you know, I always felt like, because I grew up in an atmosphere of with coaches that talk about team, right? And that we can't be a great team unless, you know, that unless we make all the chains strong, right? There are many links in the chain, right? And you got to make sure every link is strong. Now, even though we are competing for time, right? You know, I got to go at you, you got to go at me, and at the end of the day, I'm not putting you down, but I'm trying to build you up, because sooner or later we're gonna have to play against another team, right? So my responsibility, you know, when I came in, you know, as a freshman, you know, a lot of people wasn't welcome. You know, they heard so much about me, right? And I'm just coming in to be a teammate, right? And I'm coming to be competitive and to help my team win, right? And so a lot of guys are competing, whether you are in practice, they want your time. You know, they don't see that you could be a benefit to the team and help your team win, right? So my job or responsibility was to make everybody feel comfortable, push everybody to be the very best that they can. And even if we were competing, like if I had another guy guard with me, and I had guards with me and they were competing with me, right? We were competing for time, right? But I was never putting them down. I was always trying to encourage, to motivate them, right? And then I'll let my performance, right? I'll let my practice and performance speak for me, right? For who should play the most time, who should start in the game. So when you came in, right, and then we realized I realized come from the Bahamas, man, there's an adjustment to make, you know, from the Bahamas to America. My responsibility is to make Gary feel welcome, you know, because ultimately you're going to help me. You're going to help the team win, right? And not only going to help the team win, but you're going to impact people in society as well. So yeah, and my responsibility was to show you that you could do both, and the reason why you should do both, why you should be productive on the court, and why you should be productive with a productive person, right? In the community of Morgantown, So yeah, it was my pleasure, man, to to get to know you, man. You're just a gentleman.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's just a gentleman. And the crazy part is we were only together for like a year, right? But I during that time when we had a break, remember we had the break, and you came home with me,
Yeah.
right? And I took you back to Mount Vernon to meet my family. Took you over to the boys club, man. We went to the gym and played, and during the break, and, the craziest part about this, man, that it's funny now, right? It's funny now, but when you told me, I think it was sitting there on Sunday, we were thinking about like I didn't have to be back until like Monday sometime, and you was like, "Man, I got a class tomorrow, man," and it was like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and I said, "You got a class? I don't think we have no school." No, man, I got class tomorrow, man. I got to get to my class, man. I was like, what? So we end up leaving early in the morning, jumping in the car and getting back to driving all night, getting back to Morgantown to find out it wasn't no school. Man, come on, Gary, what? Oh man, I was like, man, I'm about to kill Gary over there, man. He made me drive back. We almost killed ourselves out there trying to get back to school. We had to stop and go to sleep. But no, we had some great times, man. So you know, so talk about what you learned because you were talk about the real quickly the school. Let's talk about your experience in Morgantown real quick, and then talk about you went on to I think another school. Talk about that experience and talk about the connection uh, that you made between me and you and when you went to the next school. So talk a little bit about that.
Okay. At the University of West Virginia, I remember Coach Coach put me on the court for the first time, and I had to play in and I had to play it in the gym with a crowd of about 16, 17,000 people. When I get out on that court and they call the Bahamas name or a Mac, it felt so different to play in the front of all that people. Mr. Gail Catlett, he also used to come to the Bahamas, and I used to use the school bus to take him around. Very good coach. Him, I got to meet his wife. And sometimes they still send me, God rest his soul, but she still send me Christmas letters, me and my wife. But he
Okay.
was very nice to me, and I was very nice to him when he came to the Bahamas. Try to show him the best time because he loved golf. Really, really good golf player. When I'll give another little story. I went to 4 different schools in the United States. I went to Massanutten Academy. Then I went to West Virginia, and I lived. Then I went to Independence Community College, where I met your brother.
Oh yeah.
There's more. And I say, brother Lord, have this man in my life. I made him get along just well. And I at that school, I got a story to tell before I moved to the next school. When I was at that school, we were a good team. We were about to go to the Final Four in the junior college. I played really well there, but I had some good friends there, Curtis and Darren. Darren kept me together. He was the point guard, but we won. But there's a rule: we had a player on our team too old, and he took all the games from us.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. That hurt because we were really good. After I leave there, I went to Virginia Commonwealth. There I met Tubby Smith, and JD Barnett was the head coach. But Tubby Smith, in my opinion, was the man behind everything else because he had that ability to make you feel comfortable and get the best out of you, And I like to listen to him, I went to them 4 schools, but I've learned a lot for every school that I have been to because I'm very quiet and I like to listen. I learned a lot. From the military school, I learned a lot of discipline. I learned about dyslexia with learning. I learned that hard work pay off. Getting up 4 o'clock in the morning to run, making sure that your room is clean for room inspection. It was a great place to be at the time. At that time, I didn't think so, but afterwards, it was awesome for me. West Virginia was good for me because basketball-wise, it was good for me because I was sitting down and absorbing everything that was taught, learning some things about prejudice and learning that prejudice is something that is taught. You don't born with that. Learn that everybody, isn't the same way. And I learned that, and that was good for me there. From Independence Community College, it taught me how to think outside the box. Because you're no longer in a university school that does this. Try to think outside the box and get things done. I graduated from there because a lot of people didn't believe that I would graduate from a college, and that was a goal for me when I went over there. And I felt so good. And it's a lady there at that school, Miss Thompson. Someone told me that she's still alive, but I could get her phone number. She was very nice to me. White lady, she's very nice to me. She helped me with my baptism, and she came and she took a picture of me graduating. It was, I think, about 200 in graduating class, and me and the next lady, we were the only 2 blacks to graduate.
Wow.
But at the time, I didn't even look at it like that. I just look at it as one because I only see one color when I'm looking. That's life, And when I get that degree from that school, and I get that by being honest. And I felt so good inside. I felt good because I achieved something, And when I came back home, I walked out to the park and I saw about 25 kids on the court because there where I live in a little place called Seagrave, we always used to be on the court. That's all we know, basketball. And when I left out there, I realized that very few kids finished school. So I started basic basketball. I didn't give it a name yet, but at that time, that's what it was because I teach basics. And I was probably the only coach at that time teaching basic basketball. Also, there's another coach. I think he started coaching before me doing that. His name is Moon McPhee. Really good coach in the Bahamas. But in West Grand Bahama, I was a coach down there. And I look at them kids and my goal I love community. My goal was to don't allow kids to go through what I went through as a kid, growing up with education. I didn't realize the value of education until they started talking about scholarship. But I didn't grow up with a father with a mother. My grandparents grew me up. One of my friends came to me, Mr. Williams, as a man, and he said to me, "You don't know this, but I watch you in your house, because we had the house with a wooden window, and people could see inside." And he's walking around, and he said, I look at you trying to teach yourself. He said, you had this book and you're trying to teach yourself, you know, and a lot of people don't realize how a lot of young people wants to learn, but sometimes the situations, no one is really be there at the time. Because when a child is young, that's when you have to get them. That's when you have to get in their head, you know, to get them to learn. And when I started that, I always talk about education to kids, and I always tell them it's in my community. I feel like I'm jumping from one thing to the next, but in my community is really good at skills. You know, really good at skills. Okay, and I think that in
skills like what? What they really good at skill wise?
Oh yeah, they're good at fishing. They're good at carpentry. They're good at plumbing. They're good at tiling. They're good at roofing. When I say really good, they're really good. You know, because I know a young man who can take a old door and he could make that and just like it's a new door. You know, we have a lot of talent in our community, but we need like a teen center. We need like your boys club. You know, that's what I'm all about here. I'm trying to get us in our community, basic basketball, boys and girls, a house. We're trying to get that type of building set up because basic basketball and training, that's the name, because we have a lot of training. We also have people coming to our camp and demonstrate to us the skill. We had a gentleman came who was a police officer, Mr. Wiscombe. He came into our camp and he's teaching the kids how to catch lobster. You know, how to fish.
You said how to catch a lobster?
Yeah. How to make good. Yeah, that's a living, you know. There's so much things that you can do on that water. And we are surrounded by water. So we have to show kids how they can get certified to do these things. And we have a building to have that. We can have kids come in and people come in and teach them how to get certified. The first step, certification. We can have a place, pantry where they can eat and we can sit down. Parenting is a serious thing. Parenting, for me with parenting, I think parents need help. And we always leave things for parents to do, but I think the community on the whole have to help each other. I think when you have a setup where you can get parents to come together and as they work as one, you know, you teaching them. The conversation is about the community, so they're learning in the community. Example, if I'm getting ready to travel, to come up to New York, and I have some parents coming into the building that we get, and they're cooking together. I get 4, 5, 6 parents helping with the cooking. At the same time, you're talking about parenting. You see? So you're getting them to connect with each other and everybody feeding each other and everybody else. But when you tell someone that they have to go to school for this and school for that, sometimes you got to find a way how to reach them. You know, that's why as coaches, you need to keep coaches have their ears on the ground. Coaches learn a lot. Okay, but I think that as a coach, you got to teach more than just basketball. You can teach life skills, you know, because you can have more kids not reaching that goal or going to a college or going to a professional. You know, you need them. They need to have other things that they can fall back on within your camp. And a lot of basketball is so powerful that it allowed coaches to get into players' head. You know, a coach, I learned West Virginia, a coach could take your game from you. So just as well as a coach could put that positive thought in your head and give you something to lean on. So with Basic Basketball Association, with us, we're going to do a whole lot in our community. It's all about community. We get a building to put them kids in, someplace where them kids can come and eat. You can have
Did you have a building in mind?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have a building in mind. Very nice, right size and everything. We have to go.
So you looking for? Are you looking for a gym, or a place where people can learn?
Yeah, I'm looking for a gym, a place where people could learn, a building where I could put kids in and they can come to study. You could have a computer room. You have a big pantry, like I said, where you can feed them. You could have a place where they go get certified. You have a room, say if someone who have no place to live for a couple of days, you could hold them there. You can have friends. Like I have a very good friend and a very good man, Mr. Jonathan Carey. He's in Key West. Good man. I know the things that he can do to help community, because he's also a community-minded person. We have people in our community who don't have what you think they have, and they need that help. And if we can get them and let the Lord bless them and let the Lord work to us, our club, we could work oneness in our community. We could reach the elderly, very important. Because I always believe that, for me, I'm speaking from experience, because if I had someone there for me when I was 5 and 6 and 7 years old, when you need them basics, I'd have been a lot more better off education-wise, So we need to build that education up so we can have an understanding of life and be able to read. Like you said, we need to read more. We need to instill that in our young kids so they can have that opportunity that I had. I believe that the Lord had me not to go over there to go to NBA. I think the Lord had me to go over to the United States and come back and bring back a message, because I could remember Buddy Hield, Jonquil, Mario Martin. These are kids I can remember speaking to and at my basketball camp. I could remember Jonquil coming down into my camp and helping me teach kids with drills. So I think that I feel that these things didn't just happen for nothing. I feel like something is there. So in life, we gotta learn how to help each other and learn how to, I think the word is lack of love. I think the whole world is lack of love, right? And understand.
Well, one of the things I want to digress for a moment. I wanted to really talk real quickly, because we want to go back to the basketball. We want to go back to the sphere of influence, because the Blueprint podcast. We try to talk to people who could be in one sphere of influence or multiple spheres of influence. Because there's a sphere for sports, arts, and entertainment, right? When you're doing ministry, right, most people, particularly those who are of faith, only see ministry in the four walls of the church. The preaching of the message, the singing of the song, the ushers, and that's kind of what they focus on. They don't focus on the equipping of the saints, the equipping of the people who have gifts, right? Who have gifts and skills that God has blessed them with, so they can leave that sphere of influence, right? Like you did. You left home and you went into that sphere of influence of sports, arts, and entertainment, right? And in your, regardless of what the experience was in regards to how long it took you to make that adjustment coming from the Bahamas to America, speed of the society, speed of things that was going on, catching up academically, all those things, but yet you got equipped. I mean, that's what you just said. I got equipped, right? And I use basketball. I use my gift. I use the talent that I have, right? And I got skilled in it, right? So, and I learned some other things while I was here, and I was able to now turn around and go back home, right? And then start to equip people, right? If it, you know, that's what you're saying. But go back to foundationally, talk about your grandmother, right? Right. Talk about your grandmother, that experience, and then bring us current. Like you uh now married, kids. So talk about your grandmother and then transition into where you are currently, you and your wife and kids.
Okay. My grandmother means everything to me. She was my father and my mother and my aunt and everything in one, and my uncle and everything. She was everything. You know, I watched my grandmother put food on the table for me and my other siblings, my sisters and my brother, and because she took care of all of us. I was the oldest one.
Now everybody as big as you. So you had to have growing up. You had to have some appetites and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, you know, as it go, you know, my mother, I love my mother dearly, you know, and my mother, she played that role, you know, what she had to do for her kids and us. But my grandmother was the one who most of us used to live with. Well, I lived with most all of my life until I went to college. And she was a Christian woman. And you could see the glow in her of God. You could see that. I actually know when I looked at my grandmother, and there's a few other ladies I have to mention in that because we were a community. I was a lady called Miss Francis. She had a beautiful family, but they were Christian people. There was a lady named, we called her Miss Feline. She used to bake bread. And anytime I walked into her shop, she used to say, "Gary, this bread is for you." And that was family. And we all lived like that in that little sweet community called Seagrape. Nice community, you know.
Hmm.
Uh, Moving on with my family, I came back and I met my wife and we got married. We had 3 kids. And I worked very hard, both of us. And we put them to school. I know the importance of school. So I work like 2 and 3 jobs to make sure that they get to school. And I'm very happy with my kids and my wife, and with my other brothers and sisters, especially my oldest sister, Laverne. She really is the matriarch of the family. She keeps us together because family is very important. You know, I'll give you a little story here. About a month ago, I went up to Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, to see for my mother's 51st birthday. And that was the first time that in years, or the first time me and my family, we've been together as one up there. And that was so beautiful to be with my family together, all her siblings, under one roof. That was very nice. And I appreciate the gentleman and my sister's husband. They were very nice because they got a brand new house. And we were up there. And I sat with my mother. And it was very touching, you know, so because it never happened before. It never happened where is all of my family and everybody is together. And
She was 80th birthday.
81.
81. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom just turned 84.
Boy, let me tell you, I could remember your mom clear as day. When I was up there, I said, I said to myself, I see where Lowe's get his manners and respect from, you know. So I appreciate being in Mount Vernon so much. Um, Mount Vernon, it also gave me a thought in my mind when you think about having a boys' club and girls' club in a community. That means a lot in a community. You're really helping and you're really building. And, you know, when you told me the story about uh, you and Mr. Denzel Washington, and the first person came to mind when you told me the story about him is Sidney Perkin.
Right.
That's what came to mind. That came to my mind. I said, wow, why these two men so much alike? You know, and I like to listen to gentlemen like themselves speak. When I watch the movie, when he's telling the young man, you live under my roof, you know, and he was teaching him some things, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I like movies that, I like that. When you told me that you and him were childhood friends, I said, wow, you know, and I said, I see why in my life, the Lord keep, I don't know, boy, but those, you have been, every year that I came out of West Virginia, not a year go by, my mind don't go on you. So blessings to you.
Oh man, thanks. And before we uh, move on to the basketball, man, I want you to talk about your wife. Yeah, because we can't do without our wives, man. So speak about your wife, man, and uh, you know.
Okay, my wife, us as men, we our wife is our strength.
Mm-hmm.
Our wife is our strength. You know, we lead, but our wife is right there to make sure that things go right. I'm here now, and she makes sure I have my tea. She makes sure I have my drink. You know, um, and my wife does a excellent job of taking care of the home. I take care of the outside. She take care of the inside, and she is the one, you know, that makes sure that things get done. She's the one that do the banking. You know, us men, when we come home, sometimes they drop this here, they go, get it right. You know, so she is a very intelligent and beautiful young lady, God-fearing woman. Uh, she, her and her brother. He also he is the pastor of the church that she attend, and I'd like for you to meet him. But my wife is excellent. She is great, and I support her uh, every step of the way, and she support me. And like just like every other home, you have challenges. Uh, but when you pray, God bring things back together, keep things good. And as a as marriage is a good journey because it teaches you a lot of things as you go. But you need God in your life. Marriage is just not something that you go there and get married for the world. You have to get married for the world. Because that's where your strength can come from when hard times come or whatever come your way. And then when you get over a certain hump, you can be okay. I think as long as you go by the rules of the Bible and you strengthen your mental toughness like how these teach in basketball, I think you're gonna be all right when things happen, and us as men, we all, we gotta be disciplined in what we do, So
Mm-hmm.
as I get a little older and I keep listening and reading, I learn a whole lot. I like to listen to this gentleman called Geno Jennings. I like to listen to him. He's a little rough around the edges at times, but I like when people fighting for the Bible. I like when people try to make it right. I like stuff like that.
Yeah.
When people speak, that's good.
Yeah. And before we jump into this basketball, what's your thoughts, being from the Bahamas and having an experience in America, as we as we celebrate Dr. King, this weekend and on into Monday? What was your thoughts in regards to Dr. King? Excuse me.
Dr. King, very powerful man. It wasn't for us, the Caribbean wouldn't be the way it is. He spoke for all of us. He didn't just speak for America. He speak for all of us. Him and like I said, Sidney Purdy and them, they speak positive words. They want us to grow as a Black people. And they given us the blueprint to move forward. They open the door. Now it's up to us to guide each other, and it's up to us to keep praying to do the right thing. That's why I said the word is lack of love and understanding. The Bahamas and United States, I think sometimes our people are more American than they is Bahamian, because we do so much of the same things that you guys do. We educate ourselves in the same way. When I look at European basketball and I look at United States basketball, and I see the difference of the teaching. And I look at the Bahamian and Americans, I see us teaching basically the same thing. So if America sneezes, we catch the flu. So, but America gave a lot of us opportunities. Like look at the opportunity that I had to go over there and gain knowledge, and come back and can teach our kids so they can get better, so they can go over there and compete. It's America. I give hats off to America in so many ways, because I'm a positive thinking person. I look at the positive within America. America let a lot of people go there and they do well. A lot of people go there and do well. In America, have a system where you're not doing too well and you're not, the system get rid of you. So America is a great country. And for me, for the experience that I have there, I love preparing kids to go over there. I always tell kids, one thing with coaches in America, they don't like kids who are disrespectful. I saw that in Gail Catlett right away. And I saw that in military school. And I saw that in Tubby Smith. Then the basketball world is not going to put up with you if you're rude and disrespectful. But between the things that the opportunity that the United States gave different nations, the opportunity they gave you there, I think that right now to me, that is awesome for me to go over there and being able to come back and teach what I learned from over there. Because when I came back here, I teach that I was in the school system for many years, and I never charged a child a dime to come to my basketball camp. From 1983 to now, I've been doing that, and I never charged a child 1 cent. And when I did for free. And the high school that I'm at now, I'm working at, I coached in that school, and they did not hire me as a teacher until 1992. So I've been in there for many years. I work for free, I don't.
You work in the school for free?
I worked there for about 9 to almost 10 years for free. And after they see the job I was doing, they decided to hire me, but they didn't know that I had a associate's degree. And when they find that out, I had some good people. We have our government. Our government is really good at helping. They do the best they can. I also believe that I'm not going to sit back and wait for the government to do things to me. I'm going to fight. I can give a start. So when the people see you fighting to get something, then they come along and help you. You know,
Yeah.
but you have to learn how to get out there and make things happen for your community, and that's my goal is help community.
Yeah. And then you know, it's good to, sometimes you see a seed, like you said, coming over the mom. Well, number one, Dr. King, on Monday is a day of service. Dr. King's, all weekend, but Dr. King's day of service where people go during the day of Dr. King's birthday and they volunteer. They do community service. And kind of what you're talking about, getting a glimpse of going to Mount Vernon and seeing the boys club, and then seeing the now boys and girls club, and then seeing that kind of impact that boys club, that organization was having on its community, right? And then saying like, wow, one day I'm coming back, I'm coming back home. I could see my, going back home and doing this at home, and dreaming, having a vision one day that you could have a boys and girls club, or that you could use basketball as an instrument or a tool to help young people, grow. And that's what the Boys and Girls Club did for me. That's what it did for Gus Williams and Ray Williams and Earl Tatum and Ben Gordon. That's what it did for Denzel Washington and JB Smoove and Leon, and and that's the potential of what could happen. I'm excited for you. You've been doing, like you said, you just explained to us. You volunteered for a long time, and I'm like you, and you're like me, because in all the kids that I trained over the years, I've never charged a person one dime to do that, because it was something that we were taught and by our mentors, that we needed to give back. Right now, we live in a world where everybody wants to get paid for what they do. Right, and I'm not saying you shouldn't get paid, right, for what you do for your services, right, but it's community service, and I appreciate that you're giving back like that. And on the podcast, I usually have like a little ball, a little basketball, and I usually you see me drop it, because it's a pebble, right? You like Denzel said to me, I was a pebble, right? And when you throw a pebble in the pond, you don't know what the ripple effect is going to be. He said you will never know the ripple effect that you've had, right? He said I act before people, right? But you sow into people. You give to people, right? You serve people, right? And somewhere down the line, as you're sowing dropping those pebbles, there's going to be a ripple effect, And so someone in 1912 started a boys club, right? And they had no idea when they dropped that pebble in the pond what the ripple effect is going to be, right? And so when because I think when they started that boys club, back then they could never see 100 years, right? What would happen in 100 years? And our 100-year anniversary, was in 2012, right? The 100-year anniversary, and man, we had to serve millions of kids, right? And we will not know your ripple effect of what you've done over the last 9-10 years, whatever it is. We will not know the ripple effect of what Gary has done and what he's currently getting ready to do in trying to get this building. So talk about basic basketball, talk about the mission, right? Talk about the mission of it. I think I got some pictures, man. Some pictures up here. We're gonna pop up some pictures while you talk, right?
Mhm.
So talk about basic basketball. And Yeah, somebody said the butterfly effect. I mean, but talk about basic basketball. Talk about the mission and vision of it.
Basic basketball, the mission of basic basketball training association to educate and empower today's youth. As we move through, and our goal, and the goal is reaching the community with the kids who are unfortunate, or the ones them who are not well-rounded. We want to encourage them to come out to the camp. We go out in the community and we look for them. But the goal for us is to bring them into basic basketball, let them know the importance of education, importance of attitude, importance of listening to your parents and respecting your home. As we go, we have a lot of discipline out there, and to grow them into a good, productive person in the community. And that is one of the reasons why we need these buildings and stuff that I keep talking about. As we coach, because it takes for you to come out, get up, and come out to basketball practice on time. That takes discipline. For you to run and touch that line back and forward, and the coach on your case, it takes discipline. So if you can do that, you can do your schoolwork. You can do a lot of things once you get that discipline. Sports is discipline, and getting out there and teaching young kids how to be disciplined, and how to, when you're teaching them a drill, and give them work to do on their own, because a lot of the kids want us to come out there and coach them. But when they leave us, a lot of them don't want to practice on their own. So we have to be able to get in their mind to get them out there with basic basketball, how to work and to become really good at what you do. You got to work in your spare time and take advantage of the free time that you have to better your craft.
Yeah. And so, and man, I'm looking at that picture right there, man. Look at where they. I mean, look how beautiful it is out there. I guess if I'm on the court in the gym, and I think how beautiful the Bahamas is, and that's a picture of you taking the kids to church. What was that? You take these group of kids. I remember you sending me this picture and saying, yeah, if I had the kids at church, today, and you always message me and tell me, and every day, man, you send me a prayer, or you send me, a quote or something, and you send me pictures, and then I love watching your Facebook page, and seeing you do, there go Buddy Hill right there. Is at Buddy Hill's camp, and seeing you do the work with the kids. I mean, the very basics with the kid. That's who those two? Go back to that one for a second.
That is the DeAndre Aiden. He's from Bahamian, very good basketball player. He used to play for the
Portland Trailblazers. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he used to play, and another gentleman, he also is a Bahamian, really good basketball player. I don't know him that well. And the gentleman in between, his name is Rodney Wilson. He also is a part of basic basketball. They are good gentlemen, good people to know. And he comes down and he speaks. Mr. Wilson, he comes down and he speaks with the kids and talk and help out with them. Things that we do off the court. When we travel to the Takes and Cakes Island, he was there and he teaching the kids how to cook. He's a really good cook. Yeah. And when you travel with us, the kids have to learn how to cook, because every day a different kid will have to cook breakfast or dinner. So when we go away, we take our culture with us. We take junk canoe with us. When we was in Key West, we had junk canoe down there. Mr. Jonathan Carey. So there's a lot of things. That's why I said that it's not just basketball. You know, I think as coaches we gotta do a little bit more. You know, especially the ones who work in the community, we got to bring all that into one, so we could be building that character. We can, because I believe that the more a man know, the better man he become. In my house, if I learn how to fix the lock, if I learn how to be a good painter, or learn how to cut the grass, or learn how to tune up my car, I'm a better man. I'm gonna ask someone to do that. So I think that the more we empower our young people, you know, to think differently, you know, that's to concentrate everything on one thing, you know, like you find most of the women, they can multitask, they can do a bunch of other things, you know, so you gotta like have men with doing things with their hand, they can do a whole lot more, you know, make you a better man. You don't have to go there and steal because there's things that you can do. You know, you don't have to go to jail to learn how to do these things because too many kids have to go to jail to learn how to do various things. When if they learn that from home, you know, they don't have to steal. The more you teach a man how to use his hand and give him confidence and how to plaster a house, you know, how to get, when you go and you say, all right, make him feel like somebody. You come to basic basketball academy or basic basketball boys club, and you can get the first step of certification. That makes you feel good because you have a piece of paper that you can give to somebody, you know, and they can't take advantage of you like that, you know. So that's how my brain is moving, and of course, you know, the older I get, I find myself more following the word, more doing my best to do what the Bible says. You know, I find myself doing that more and more every day. Really, I got to pray every morning. I got to pray every evening. You know, so that's what I'm trying to do right here.
Right. And so in is there, and with basic basketball, right? If somebody wanted to contribute, somebody want to make a donation, is there a way to do that?
Yes, sir. There is a way to do that. We have basic basketball. We have an account, and we can send information to people who would like to donate to us as a group. We really appreciate that. We're really appreciative.
Well, give it to us. Let us put it up on the thing. Is it a .com? Yeah, find it.
Let me give me a minute.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna give you a minute. While you're doing that, I'm gonna speak a little bit about we're working on a partnership between here in America with Gary and I, and we want to try this summer 2024. Gary wants to come up for a couple of basketball tournaments in the New York area. He wants his kids to come to New York City and to, you know, he wants me to take them down in the city so they can see New York City and 42nd Street or Times Square. They want to go down there and they want to play basketball while they up in this area. We want to try to create a partnership. I'm gonna do my very best to help in regards to hopefully help him in regards to the structuring of a youth organization and how to structurally build a youth organization. And we got to figure out whether he wants to do it from the board perspective or whether he wants to do it without a board or advisory board, because you got to be able to raise resources. You got to be able to raise funds for him. But as he said, for many years, he's still doing basic basketball and he hasn't asked anybody for a dime. But yet he's been taking kids to tournaments in America, AAU tournaments all over the place, just traveling kids and using basketball as a tool, hopefully to open the young people's minds as they deal with them and introduce them to other things, like he said, the skilled labor stuff, and open them up to the importance of education and And if you're going to go get educated in America, there's a certain level of education you need to be able to do, so that when you come over, you'll be able to adjust to the way we do education here in the United States of America. So I'm looking forward to this partnership. I'm looking forward to. We missed an opportunity, I think, a few years ago, to get to the Bahamas, but I am looking forward to go. A few years ago, my wife and we did a basketball clinic in Ireland. And surely, if I could do a basketball clinic or camp in Ireland, I mean, we can go out to the Bahamas and do something with Gary as well. So I'm looking forward to it as we move into 2024. And also, we were working on me going out there and sharing sharing the word of God with the kids as well. So I'm excited. I'm excited about that, man. Get rolling, because now it was somewhat in the midst of the pandemic, so it was travel and all that stuff was up in the air. But like now that things are getting a little bit better, we were talking a little bit more about this partnership, and they deserve to have a boys club or boys and girls club in the Bahamas, without a doubt. Yeah. So, Gary, you found it?
Yeah, I sent it to you on message.
Oh, well, my wife has my phone,
okay.
so she should be able to see it. It's on Messenger, Gary Mcintosh. So she'll see it, and maybe she'll post it up there where people get an opportunity to maybe donate to basic basketball. Yeah.
Okay. My wife wanted to say something to you.
Okay.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. And you?
I'm excellent, sir. Okay. When it comes to the account, we all set up here in the Bahamas. Now, the only thing I can give you is the international router.
Okay.
You to be able to do that. I don't have that information on hand.
Okay. So what we can do is next week, you give me what you have, and then next week, we'll put it out there again and put it on a little banner and saying that, remember last week we were talking to Gary and basic basketball, and here's some other information in regards to how you can be supportive.
Right. Because as I said, we don't have the international router for you to send it to the Bahamas, but we have everything else in place.
Okay. And he sent that to in Messenger?
Yes, he sent it to your Messenger.
Okay. So my wife should have it.
Yes.
Should have it now. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. So yeah. I mean, I think Gary, you're doing a wonderful job, man. With the kids and the young men and women. I saw a young lady in there. She was doing the moves better than the guys out there. Man, she was putting through her legs, and and I was just telling you that before we was talking to my wife and I. We was talking to you about my wife owning a WABA team. It's a professional league now that has about maybe 18 teams. I don't know if you've seen last couple of years, they have a WABA Final Four at the end of the league play, and we had the Final Four in Greensboro, North Carolina, and they're the Shamrocks, Mount Vernon Shamrocks, and there are teams in of course in North Carolina, Atlanta, New Jersey, Queens. I mean, there are teams all over. So there's a lot of opportunity for young women too, as well. As you know, my wife was a former college player. My daughter is a former college player. They both played at Fairfield University. My daughter got a master's from WVU, and she is now, her and her husband now coaching for Stony Brook University in Long Island, New York. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities out there, right? And I call this one of the things I created for Ben Gorton. It was called we should do workshops called the Game Outside the Game, right? Which was about if you couldn't play sports, right? what sports related field would you go into? Like, would you go into coaching? You know, would you go into becoming an athletic director? Would you become an official? Would you become an owner? Right? Would you become a trainer? Right? There's so many. Would you become a sports financial planner? Right? What would you come? And it says when you get out into the real world, it is very obvious which individuals were involved in sports growing up. They have discipline, structure, and respect. Well, we thank you for that, Liz. Yes, I mean, let me speak to that, Liz, because it's so crazy that when I was part of the Boys and Girls Club and how I made my a lot of my connection. You know, I used to go around. A couple of friends used to hook me up with corporations and different things like that. And one of the ways they got in there was that they would say, "Yeah, Lowe's played college basketball, or Lowe's played in the NBA, right?" And they like, what? And then I would get in the office because I played sports, right? Because most CEOs, most businessmen, right? When you go in their office, they got the Giants up, they got the Jets, they got all these professional pictures on their wall because inside them, you know, they wanted to be me. They wanted to either play football, basketball, hockey, whatever. They wanted to play sports, right? And because they could not play sports, you know, of course, they went on to do business, right? But everybody's always grew up dreaming that they was going to play in the NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, right? So yeah, sports and the things that sports teaches, Gary, the things that you are teaching these young men, because when my coach was saying be the practice on time, right, or you don't get to play, right? And so I was at practice on time. And so then when my coach said be the class on time, right? Get the school on time, get the class on time. Don't play around in the hallway, get there. Right? So sports can teach you inside sports, it can teach you so much inside sports. So people just looking at basic basketball. But what you teach, what I learned as a young kid, right? It prepared me for making choices, the same choices, the good choices my parents wanted me to make when I left the home, when I was not in their sight, right? Basketball taught me that, right? Because I knew the consequences of making bad choices, right? I knew the consequences of that because I love playing basketball, right? I wasn't going to play, wasn't going to practice. I knew the consequences of not getting good grades because I wasn't going to play basketball. Right. So I appreciate what you're doing through basketball. Now, again, anybody, eventually you're going to have, I see this is my vision for you. Right. This is my vision for you. You're going to start out with basketball. Right. You're going to start out with basketball, and it's going to be boys, and then eventually it's going to be girls. And then next thing you know, you're going to need cheerleaders. Right. And then you're going to need dancers. Then you're going to need announcers for the game, people to keep the score. All those are jobs. All those are careers. You're going to need marketing, right? All those are careers, man. And basic basketball is going to do all that and more.
I love it. You know,
yeah.
to
There you go. All
basic.
right.
Well, you know, I like to say that
I don't even know what time it is. My wife took my phone. I don't have my watch on. You know.
I right now it is 10:30.
10:30. Oh, we at the end. I was having such a good time with you, man. You know, so yeah, talk to me as we close here, as we come to a close. right?
Well, first, I'm going to say thanks for having me on the show. Such beautiful show. I come on and I listen at times. Sometimes I get a little lost, but sometimes I understand because I look at it for experience within the conversation, and I know that it's a blessing to hear you speak. And I'm looking forward to seeing you here, and I'm looking forward to coming up there. And I I love to see kids who get eyes on education, you know, because education comes in many different forms, you know. I like the kids to see and where they can raise their level to better themselves. Like I said, it's not just with basketball, but with everything else they see around them. Because if the kids walk into Madison Square Garden, they realize how many different sports goes on inside that building. I told them one time when I walked outside of the bus and I looked up at the building, I thought the building was going to fall on me because it was so tall up there.
Right.
You know, I want other kids to have that experience, you know, because it's all about them. They are the future, and the more positive things we put in their mind, and more we open doors for them, they don't think different. You know, they're gonna work much harder to better themselves. You know, we create learning, a learning situation that's conducive to learning for them as much as we possibly could, and teach them the value of the elderly, teach them how to appreciate their parents. You know, the Bible say, you know, how long you live, you respect your parents.
Mm,
You know, the days will be long.
that's
You know,
right.
we have to instill these things into children, especially the ones who know about church but don't follow the rules of a lot of us do this. We know about the word, but we don't respect the word.
Mm,
Or the parent in the parent home, uh, one of the words that is very bad and worse than a curse word is when you're not teaching your kids no morals, or you're telling the kid that they cannot achieve, or you know, use some, you know, like to say positive words to the children instead of using the F word as you bring them out as a child and telling them, I'm an adult, I can do this, and because I'm an adult, I can do this, you can't do this. But the child listening to you,
mm,
the child going to pattern off what the parents say. So there's a lot of things that uh, have to be done with parents. It all start at home, you know, and we have to get in the home. My goal is to get in the home. I want to get in the home. I want to show that there's something could be done to help kids. For after every 10 years, you have a different type of crime. It's because what's been taught to the child, you need to deal with it from young. You need to have your system set up where you have preschool, primary school, and high school. The child don't miss, especially the preschool, because a lot of kids, a lot of people can't afford to send their child to preschool. They try to send them to a little this and little that, where the child ain't getting what it needs to get. So we have to start helping from a younger age, so we wouldn't have a big problem with literacy. You know, so we need to help.
yeah. I think Liz was saying, I know from experience that it's difficult to send money to your organization through the banking system. Are there other ways to send money like Zelle or PayPal?
No, we didn't have to go through that system. What the wife is telling you,
Hmm.
we didn't have to go through that.
Well, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
I'll talk to you. We'll figure it out, and
Mhm.
then we'll put something back up there. You know. So, Gary, I want to say thank you, man. I appreciate this, man. Particularly coming on such a powerful weekend. You know, representing Dr. King and his day of service and your service to the community. Um, which Dr. King was very much for, right? And so as we honor him, we honor you today, for what you're doing. I look forward to, as we grow in this partnership, man. I always love you, man.
Thank you,
Yeah. And I look forward to you either being here or us getting the opportunity to go out there. There you speaking at Buddy Hill's camp, right? There's Buddy Hill's camp,
buddy.
man. Yeah. And that's awesome, man. I don't know in terms of what your relationship is, right? And in terms of Buddy and Aiden, because sometimes what happens is that you got, like, I had Denzel and Gus Williams, and I had them contribute to the boys, boys club, boys and girls club. I had them contribute to get involved in it, right? And it could be not only just where you are, but you could have multiple sites where they're running something at another site, you're running something where you are, because it takes partnership, it takes collaboration to make things happen. You know what I'm saying? And it takes proposals and writing for grants and it takes fundraising opportunities, giving people an opportunity to sow seed into you. But I like what you're doing, man. Let's continue to talk, weekly on, as we prepare for you coming here or me coming there, whichever way, both of them. But thanks again for coming on. I appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm in B-More. I'm in Baltimore. Gary's in the Bahamas with that lovely weather out there. And so to each and every one of you out there, please enjoy this weekend and the holiday of Dr. Martin Luther King. You know what he represents. There's Jolly right there. There's Calvin. His birthday was on the 11th. Happy birthday, Jolly. And then I thank you guys. There's Gary and his wife. I thank you guys for your support each and every week. I love you. Remember, this stays on Lowe's More the Blueprint on Facebook and Lowe's More the Blueprint on YouTube. It stays on it. So if you didn't see it, right, if you didn't get a chance to see it today, you can see it tomorrow or next week. Or if you guys would be gracious enough, please share, please share that the blueprint is out there. And I am in the midst of working with one of my guys that was on the call, I think last week when we was doing the New Year's special and we was talking about vision. I'm working with him. I didn't speak to my wife yet, but I'm working with him, my man Phil from last week, and we're about to be working on a situation to be on his network. So when we're on Facebook and YouTube, we'll also be on his network. And we're hoping in the future where, like to get to the point where we can monetize, right? Because if you can monetize it, then you can get resources and then you can invest in other things and you can support other things as you monetize. So please pray for me. Please pray for the Blueprint Podcast. Continue to pray for Basic Basketball and Gary. Man, I love you guys. I look forward to seeing you next week. We haven't figured out the guest for next week yet, but we will. And I look forward to seeing you next week. God bless you. And I say each and every week, if God allow you to wake up tomorrow, make tomorrow your masterpiece. I love you guys.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Lowe's More, the Blueprint Podcast. Stay connected and follow us at our website, www.lowesmore.com. That's LOWESMOORE.com. You can also join the discussion on Twitter at Lowe's More and on Facebook at Lowe's More Jr. As always, thank you for pushing your mindset towards a better reality. This concludes the most thought-provoking portion of your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast to stay fully up to date with everything we're up to. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other.
What they teaching is a joke. I ain't buying it like I'm broke. Insufficient funds for insignificant.